Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Horrible Bosses 2, starring Jason Bateman, Jason Sudeikis, Charlie Day, Jennifer Aniston, Christoph Waltz, Chris Pine, Jamie Foxx, and Kevin Spacey, directed by Sean Anders. Now, what happened to the first movie's director? I don't know, but thank God he didn't return for a sequel to a movie that I thought was funny the first time. Usually, in my opinion, sequels to comedies are a terrible idea. I've said this before, and there's a reason. Because it's not funny the second time. Like, you can tell the joke once, and that's fine. But the rest of the time, too fucking much. Let's get into the movie and see if this is too fucking much. Nick Hendricks, returned by Jason Bateman, Kurt Buckman, returned by Jason Sudeikis, and Dale Arbus, returned by Charlie Day, invents a shower gadget called the Shower Buddy as it goes on live TV with a couple of TV hosts, and they show how it works, and it doesn't turn on while the humor in the scene is trying too fucking hard to make people laugh at the jokes when they're not funny, and this is a reason why sequels to comedies are a terrible idea. As they try too hard, and they drink at a bar, and Kurt has a ringtone to Katy Perry's Roar, as he gets a call from a company led by Bert Hansen, played by Christoph Waltz, and his son Rex, played by Chris Pine. And these characters are not as funny as the writing, and this is not as funny whatsoever. Rex wants to take over the product, the Shower Buddy, as Nick feels uncomfortable giving the product to the Hansons and throws a $3 million offer away by Rex, and while Bert offers to make them build 1,000 shower buddies and buys a building to make 1,000 shower buddies, as Kurt hires 3 women who have no work experience whatsoever and a thief, while Nick hires a woman who can barely speak English, and Dale hires an ex-criminal, and they get started on making 1,000 shower buddies as they change their names to their company to their real names, as the original name sounds racist and I don't wish to say it whatsoever. Well, they successfully build 1,000 shower buddies, and they go to Bert and Rex, and they cancel the order. And I knew Christoph Waltz is the bad guy in this movie thanks to the works of Quentin Tarantino in Inglourious Bastards, for example. And how many movies has Chris Pine been in where he plays the fucking villain? And this movie answers my question. After getting fucked by the Hansons, Kurt and Dale want to kill those motherfuckers while Nick is against it. And the last time Dale was meant to be annoying, and that's what made him my favorite character, while Kurt is acting like an idiot in this whole fucking movie, as well as Dale. As they come up with kidnapping Rex for ransom against Bert, and they come to David Harkin, returned by Kevin Spacey, and visit him in jail, and David tells them they're all fucking morons, and they ask to fuck over Bert, and he says there's nothing they can do while they're going over the fucking top, and he writes about how they have no balls with a picture and tells them to fuck off while they go to Dean motherfucker Jones, returned by Jamie Foxx, as he wants part of their plan. And at this point, I'm not laughing at, but is more insulted with this movie's existence, because unfortunately it does, and this is not as funny like the original, and I don't like any of these fucking characters this time. They go to the office of Dr. Julia Harris, DDS, returned by Jennifer Aniston, as Nick is the lookout while Kurt and Dale go inside and talk about the code names while they have the walkie-talkies on, and Julia arrives to the building and have a meeting about sex addiction in Julia's office, and Nick gets caught by a security guard as he gives himself a code name into the sex addiction group, while Kurt and Dale make so much fucking noises like a bunch of idiots, as 2 of the main 3 are idiots and are getting on my last fucking nerves. Julia tries to have sex with Nick as he pretends to be gay, as she tries to kick the meeting out, which is very problematic. Before Nick fucks Julia, he kicks out the other 2 while Kurt and Dale get back in the car and write a note with a scary sounding voice until Nick comes in, and they drive away. And this movie is so fucking stupid right off the fucking bat. As they go to Rex's house, and Kurt rings the doorbell, as it's a song and it makes much motherfucking noise, and they put Nick's credit card inside the house, which is a terrible idea. And the maid gets to the house, and they get inside with the maid without her knowing, and Rex comes home and almost fires the maid on her birthday, which sounds fucked up. But at the end, he was joking. And what a terrible joke to pull off on your maid's birthday. And he throws his shoes at her, and I'm thinking, this motherfucker is a serious douchebag from the get-go. Dale hides in the closet while Kurt and Nick are there with them as the maid puts his toothbrush up her asshole like Kurt did in the first movie. As she finishes when he gets her and he doesn't know she put it up her ass as he brushes his teeth, and they put on some laughing gas and faint. And this is what reminding me of a scene in Lethal Weapon 4, as it's not funny then or anymore for that matter, and it's not funny now. While the alarm of Katy Perry's roar wakes Nick up, and Rex happens to have left his home as they leave the house and get to their place. And when they get to their building, and they open the trunk, as they see Rex once again pulling off another terrible fucking joke, as he pretends to be kidnapped, as he wants to partner up on his kidnapping, wants to give them a ransom of $5 million, and Fight Clubs himself. Well, I'm thinking this motherfucker is absolutely motherfucking nuts. And they reluctantly agree to kidnap Rex, and this is failing to make me laugh, as the writers tried so hard to make me laugh, but failed really miserably. Nick, Kurt, and Dale are forced to call Bert, asking for ransom while sounding completely fucking stupid. And they get back to their building, and the cops led to believe Detective Hatcher asking them about doing business with Bert, and give their employees the day off and have a meeting with Rex, as he cries and Nick doesn't believe it, while the other two feel terrible for Rex, as Nick says to him to let him go, and they have no choice but to continue with the ransom, and the acting in this is absolutely horrible. They come up with the plan to continue with the kidnapping and go over, which feels unrealistic, and Nick wants to call off the plan, as they visit motherfucker Jones, as he gives them advice about how they're the craziest motherfucking criminals, and they pretend to walk slow-mo when they leave, with Notorious Big playing in the background, which has got to be the most embarrassing scene in the trailer as well as the fucking movie, and gives them something from the movie Predator, and continue with the kidnapping while the cops are present. And how stupid is this fucking movie at this point? Oh my god. There's so many fucking problems. They get on the walkie-talkies, and Kurt screws up which phone to give the bench, and they call the phone and use their terrible cowboy accents, and go over the top once again as Julia comes in the room and she wants to fuck Dale while they're going through the plan and Dale's wife Stacy comes in, and she runs out with their triplet daughters, or was it twins? I couldn't tell you, and I don't give a shit. And Dale traps Julia, and I can't believe I fell for this class of piece of classic of raunchy humor comedy bullshit. Nick, Kurt, and Dale collect the ransom and shot Bert in the shoulder, when it was really Rex, as he's fucking them over, and kills Bert. And Kurt records Rex and Kurt and giving Rex the tape when they should have hung on to it for a few minutes more, as they wait for the cops to get there. And again, this movie's so goddamn stupid, and announce what they had in their minds. And Rex gets away with motherfucker Jones picking them up and plays the NWA's Straight Outta Compton in the background, and run from the cops while arguing with one another, as this is completely idiotic to begin with. And wait for the train to leave as they continue the chase, and they have cops all over them and break a fence, as Rex sees it while they drag a fence to the bridge and crash the car as they land on the ground. And I'm checked out, because this is such a stupid movie. They get to their location and motherfucker escapes, and they confess they didn't kill them. And the cops almost believe Rex until Kurt's phone rings, and the detective wants to see the phone and holds the detective hostage until Dale goes forward and gets shot by Rex, because his life was taken away from Rex, as it's going to, and goes to the hospital before he dies. But 4 days later, Dale wakes him up Dale wakes up and sees Stacy coming in and says Julia explained everything to her and they're happy he's alive while Julia wants to fuck Stacy. And as I don't ever want to see that, and thank God they never did, nor did they ever make another movie ever again. And their building is bought by David, who ends up being the boss of these guys. And because of Nick again. And they visit David in jail while motherfucker Jones, who buys a location to 3 different locations, anyways. And credits roll to bloopers as the climax annoyed the shit out of me. But how annoyed was I? Let's check the rating. I'll give this movie a 2.6 out of 10. Not as good nor funny as the original. And the writing in this is not funny as it's awful. And I don't like the returning characters as well as the new characters, as I've seen them as villains in other movies, as this was predictable. And I'm not laughing at this movie, but more insulted by this movie's existence. 2 of the main characters are idiots, as this movie gets on my last fucking nerves, as this movie is so fucking stupid right off the bat, as the writers tried so hard, very hard to make this funny, as this failed miserably to make me laugh. As this movie fails miserably. There's a reason why sequels to comedies are the worst ideas ever, as this movie proves my point. Exactly. As this movie is completely fucking stupid and is proving my point why sequels to comedies are a bad fucking idea. And this is a solid non-recommendation, as this movie is absolutely horrible. And I'll go back to the original, but never will I ever come back to this movie, as this is a reason why I don't watch R-rated raunchy humor kind of bullshit movie to begin with anymore. So I would like to thank you guys for joining me, and until then, fuck these horrible bosses of the motherfucking series. This movie's bullshit.